Welcome back, everybody, to another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates podcast. We're joined today by legendary actress of the silver screen and the small screen, and the third female guest to ever appear on the Square Table Degenerates podcast, Miss Mindy Sterling. How are you today, man?
Wow, the third. Is there a problem here?
No, it's just it's a very testosterone-driven show, and it's a lot of sports time. I reach out to anybody I can usually holler at. The first we had, there was a girl from Nigeria we had on, and then we had on Kenna McEnroe. She was from Office Space, but right. she only phoned me, and she didn't cam up.
So this is a big deal for us.
Oh, yeah, we usually don't have many visitors. We have a lot of female fans, but not too many female guests on the show, South.
Well, I am honored to be here.
That's awesome. So the internet tells me you were born a couple of years ago in Paterson, New Jersey. Is that correct?
Yes, sort of, yes. I think I was 2 when I left New Jersey, so I have no memory of it at all. Never went back or visited or anything. And so we ended up moving to Miami, Florida, which is where I really grew up.
Oh, okay. So you grew up in Florida. Were you like by the beach? Obviously Miami?
In Miami, but it was like maybe a 20-minute drive or something like that to the beach. But no, I was there until probably I think 22, 23, in which I moved out to LA. So it was very hot, very humid. It's definitely changed.
What was life growing up in Florida? When you were going to school, like what'd you do for, fun and stuff like that?
Well, I remember you've got this, block party of kids and neighbors who used to hang out on the block and play games. And I think that's, we smoked pot. We dabbled in trying to grow up a little bit. And I had a huge tree in front of my house. And I do remember climbing it with friends and just sitting up on the tree and talking. I mean, you were always outdoors, until it got too hot. And so it was a lot of that. I mean, I didn't do a lot of going to camp. I didn't do, it was just hanging out at home.
Now, it said your dad was an actor and a comedian. Is that correct?
Yes. His name was Dick Sterling, and he worked with Shecky Green and Sammy Shore, and he sang. He was an actor, and they also did, these 2-person shows. So he was, he was involved, and it got me, I think, thinking, oh my God, this looks really fun. You can play other people. And I started to get involved in school. I think the first thing I did was in 6th grade. I did a play, and it was called The Mikado. Okay. And and I thought, wow, I think I like this kind of thing. So, yeah.
Now, did your dad do stand-up, or was it just mainly Hollywood acting, or what kind of?
Well, he did some stuff. He did like the Jackie Gleason show, and he was in some movies, small parts and stuff, but he had an incredible voice. And so he did a lot of things like at the condos and the Miami clubs. I remember he worked at the Singapore for a very long time, and the Algiers. And so he kind of did his shtick. He did, like, when he was with Shecky, he was kind of the straight man, and Shecky was the comic. Oh. And when my dad went himself, he did everything. He did characters. He was really great talking to the audience. So, yeah.
All right. And you said your mom was a dancer. What did how involved was she? Did she tour? What kind of dancing did she do?
Oh, she did. She was on the Miami Beach, the hotels. And so she was one of the dancers. They would have these women that would walk, in, and they would have these huge, amazing, beautiful, hat displays. And they would walk around with like pasties and blah, 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 the show. But my mother was a dancer. So okay. They had the dancers in the background and really did dancing. And then they had these women who just walked around like they were showgirls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I mean, you were just saying your dad kind of influenced, I would imagine, that you're pretty much destined to be an actress, to be in showbiz and all that? Because of your parents and your family and all that?
Well, I mean, but you never know, I mean, there certainly are kids that don't want to have anything to do with it.
Right.
I did it where I was in school, and at least I got to test how good I was, how much I enjoyed it, how hard working it was. So, and I was kind of a shy person. And so that was a way for me to get out of myself and to do these things. And it was just so much fun.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school at down there in Miami? What high school?
I went to Miami Norland.
Okay.
I think I graduated 71, maybe something like that.
All right, what kind of music were you into in high school? Were you in like the anti-war stuff, all the anti-Vietnam stuff? Were you more of a straight edge? What was your personality?
Oh, no, I was such a good girl. I was a good girl. I don't even. I liked the Who. I'll tell you what. My first concert that somebody took me to, I fell in love with was Alice Cooper.
Oh, okay.
To this day love Alice Cooper, and my son, who's 26, loves it too. So a couple of years ago, we went together and we were singing the songs. It was amazing, awesome. So I was into that, and Jethro Tull, and just that kind of sort of rock music. But I was a really good girl. I mean, until I smoked pot. I don't know how I got into that, but that was, probably as much as I would go.
You talk about Alice Cooper. It's funny. He had a restaurant called Cooperstown. And man, they had a branch in Cleveland. It's right across the street from, now it's a Progressive Field, but it was only open for like 2-3 years. It was only really there for like a little bit.
Interesting.
And that was years. There's people in Cleveland who probably don't remember that, because it was literally only around for like 2 years and they just shut business.
Yeah, maybe not. But and I hear he was such a lovely man, and I wish I would have gotten to meet him. So yeah.
So you're down in Florida and you're in high school. What did you do immediately after high school? Did you go to some kind of college right away, or did you just hang out and party, or what happened?
Well, everybody was going to colleges. They wanted to either to get away or local, and I really just didn't want to. I really just wanted to, just act and hang out until I can. And so I ended up going to a 2-year college, Miami-Dade.
Okay.
Got involved in theater there. So that was great. So that was only 2 years. And then after that, it was really about me getting a job, just, in whatever. And I did that. And then I did some local stuff, theater, but it wasn't until I moved out to LA in my early 20s that I really committed and really went for it.
All right, now I've heard about this school before, and it said you were in it. It said, how did you get introduced to the Groundlings? Can you describe what the Groundlings is and what year you were in it and what happened with it?
Well, it's still around, except for the pandemic. Everybody's trying to figure that one out. It is a comedy, improv, sketch comedy theater, and the likes of lots of people came, from that. We had, I'm drawing blanks. Max, who came from the Groundlings, Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, a lot of people on Saturday Night Live, Pee Wee Herman, Lisa Kudrow. It's a ton of people have come from there and have made a splash either on Saturday Night Live or other places and other things. They've gone on to doing spectacular stuff. So, Julie Sweeney, and so that, I think I was a member there doing shows there on the weekends for about 10 years.
Okay. Oh, so it's not like a school. I was reading something, it's like a school.
It's a school that teaches improv and sketch comedy. So
okay.
You work your way, it's like 4 levels or 5 levels, and you work your way through the program. And if you have completed, all 4 or 5 levels now, then you can perform in the Sunday group, which performs on Sunday night, and in hopes that someone there would get chosen to then become a main member in the Groundlings.
Okay, so if you did good in the Groundlings and there's people in the audience who could see you and maybe like, okay, we want this girl for our show over here and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a feeder school almost.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it's a wonderful place to grow develop skills, and it's you're right in Hollywood, so it's the place where casting people will come and get to see you.
Okay. Now I went back and did some research on some of your earlier roles, and I saw that you were in Perfect Strangers in 1986. Now, for those, a lot of people don't remember.
Do you remember that?
I don't actually remember this. That's why I was going to ask you about it. Now, do you remember that role at all?
I do. In fact, I had probably one or two lines. I was a hostess, and I had to, can I help you? That kind of thing. And I remember the director wasn't very nice. I don't remember his name, but I just remember he wasn't very nice. And he was, he just was crabby and cranky. And it would just, like, well, don't do that. Do this and do this. Go over there and don't move so much. And that was like, one of my first things. And it was just like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to get through this.
Now, what was the actor who played Belky? I totally cannot remember his name right now.
Oh God! I'd have to look on the phone.
Okay, who played Belky?
Bronson Pinchot.
That's right, Bronson Pinchot. Now, when you had that role, did you have to do an accent for that, or you were just straight talking?
No. I was just a hostess.
Okay.
I had nothing to do with it.
Now, is there any roles in the 80s before you started getting really big pops in the 90s that you really liked or you remembered about that people may have forgotten or just you totally nostalgic about, or how was the 80s for you?
Well, I think it was just me starting. I think it started to it didn't really go anywhere until the Austin Powers, so that was later. And so I was taking classes at the Groundlings, so I was very involved in that and doing shows. And then in the early 90s is when stuff started to happen.
Okay, so I got to ask you about Saved by the Bell, the college years. Now, I haven't seen that show in 20 years. I know where you can watch it now. Do you remember what you played in that?
I do. I played Clara, the school lunch lady.
Oh, nice! It's such a stereotypical role for you. I love it.
Yeah. With the hairnet and and I don't know if I was just kind of nasty or if it's everybody knew me there. Hi Claire. But I do remember working on that show.
Now do you remember any of the characters? Did you get to interact with like Dustin? Rest in peace, Dustin Diamond. But how was he and any of the cast?
You know what? They were very heavily sort of controlled by the producer at the time. So it wasn't like nowadays where they can just hang out and get to know you. So I didn't really get that involved with them, but Dustin was really lovely. I remember he really was very sweet and made sure I was okay. So it was very nice.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond. Obviously, we had. I reached out to him his people last year, and they said to get back to me. And then obviously, nothing happened.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that was a surprise. And when you get an illness like that, it goes fast.
Oh, it does. I had a friend, a friend of the show, my friend Jeanette Adobe. She just passed away recently. Same thing, I think. Lung cancer, just out of nowhere, man. Just boom. Yeah. 3 weeks, she was gone. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I had to go back and watch the Friends episode because I 100% don't remember you being in Friends. And it was actually pretty, it was the end of season 2. So season 2, episode 24, you played a wedding planner and you had 2 lines, basically go that way. And then I
was like, come on, let's go. Really bossy and just kind of putting people away. And people remember that. It's amazing.
I remember, but I had to go back and watch it because and it's on, I think it's HBO Plus or HBO Max has the old Friends episode. So if you get a chance, go back and watch it. But was that a big role for you at the time, or was that just another gig? Or
yeah, I mean, really, just another gig because I hadn't done Austin Powers, so it was just still me, gaining my resume. But I knew, and it was a lovely set to work on because I knew Lisa Kudrow from the Groundlings, and I think we all went out to lunch, the cast, and they were very nice to me. Okay. But Lisa she kind of, he took me under her arm and went to her trailer. And so, it was really, really sweet.
That's for those who don't remember the episode. Tom Selleck was dating Monica in that episode. They ended up breaking up at the end of the episode. Did you get to meet Tom Selleck in that?
No.
No,
I don't think so. I don't think so because I don't think he was in that scene.
Okay, it was in a different. Oh, so you just did that scene. You weren't in for any of the rest of the show. Well, there?
No, because I think it was it sitcom? So it was 3 cameras. So yeah, they had. Maybe did they? Yeah, no, I think they had an audience there. God, it was so long ago.
Okay, yeah, that was 1996. I was looking at the characters and even you, everybody just looks like baby faces. It's so
yeah, we're babies, yes.
So I was 96, 19, I think. Man, a long time ago.
Wow,
long time ago.
Yes.
I do now. This is a silly question on that show, but Fran Drescher was at the end of that. Did you get to meet her in that at all? Or have you ever met Fran Drescher?
I think I met her another time at some probably some charity event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she really talk like with that real nasally voice?
Oh yeah, she talks like that. Yeah.
The easiest person to do it.
It's not a put-on, so she is. Yeah.
That's almost the easiest impression to do next to Schwarzenegger out there in Hollywood. That's awesome. All right. Now we got to get into Austin Powers, obviously, because you're little known for that. So I got tons of questions on this. Now, did they first come to you with the script, or did you have to audition for that?
I did audition for it. I did meet and worked a little bit with Mike, just not on the character or anything, but we did improv together at the Groundlings. So I got to meet him and know him, and the director had come to see a show, so they were familiar with me. But New Line was, the movie producers, and so I did have to audition.
Okay.
Just like anybody else, yeah.
Okay. Now, when they first, why do you look so short in the movie when you're kind of average height for one? You only, I said you were 5'3". Are you 5'3" actually in real life?
5'2".
5'2". Okay, that's not terribly short. Why do you look so short compared to everybody else in the movie? Was everybody else on heels, or what was the deal with that?
No. Well, Mike isn't that tall.
Okay.
And who else? Robert Wagner's taller. And Seth is small. So, and because I was always with Robert Wagner, you'd see me because we were part of his posse. That's probably why, because he's very tall.
Okay. Now, do you speak any German beyond the German that you?
No, I don't know. No, I don't speak German at all.
Now, if you would have picked an ethnicity for that character, would it have been German, or what would you have picked that character to be? If it was you, not the movie.
Yes, I think a lot of my characters, they blend into one, but I like the way that they sort of worked with the dialogue, and that I found my rhythms and things of that nature. But I didn't know what I was doing. It's not like I was doing I'm sure a classy, perfect German dialect, but it worked.
Now, right in the beginning of the first movie, you and Mustafa, Will Ferrell, are saved by Dr. Evil. Mike Myers sitting there at the desk. Now, if Dr. Evil accidentally hits that button, do you still have a career as Frau Farbissina?
Oh, if he did it to me?
Yeah. What's the character twist there? Think about that. What would have happened there if he's just like, oh, I'm getting rid of this guy, and boom.
I would never be talking to you right now, Joe.
They would have never even had a script for you. Your career would have been like just still doing bit part.
Yeah, no, you never know where it's going to take you, and who knew that this was going to be, my stepping stone to move forward and build, off of that. I was very, very grateful.
Now, did your character have a first name in the movie, or was it just Mrs. Farbissina? And Frau in English.
I think it was just Frau Farbissina.
Okay.
You know what that means, right?
It's Yiddish for something. I'm not really familiar.
It's like sourpuss.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like just Mrs. Old Cranky Pants, pretty much. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, then I'm going scene by scene. I just watched some of these. I just watched the first 2 yesterday. I've seen them 100 times, obviously, but it's been a couple years. So I wanted to.
Yes. And the great thing is, if you put it on now and see it now, it still has that magic. It still makes me laugh. It still is just so, and then you know how things happened, and I don't know. It's really has a life shelf, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
It does. And then the one scene where the Lucky Charms and Patty O'Brien's sitting around there, and Robert Wagner says, Well, we have, a factory in Chicago that makes little models of factories and a steel mill in Cleveland. Now, I'm in Cleveland. Well, North Olmsted's a suburb of Cleveland. I just wanted to point out that in 2021, knowing Cleveland, that steel mill would have 100% been closed by now if Bridgetown was a real thing in real life.
Wow, interesting. That's very interesting.
Because back in the 90s, we had a place called LTV Steel, and they ended up closing. And what they did was they turned it in. They were debating two different things. They were going to turn it into their NASCAR track or a shopping complex, and they took the shopping complex route and they called it Steel Yard. And it's not exactly the most secure place. That's the best way to put it. I mean, the Walmart there was voted like one of the worst in the nation. It's not a place that a lot of people are wanting to take out.
Interesting. Wow.
2008. Now, Now, when Dr. Evil's in there, and every scene I noticed this, he goes, gentlemen. He's always, and then you're always in the room. Now, was this on purpose, or do you think, or was this to make your character seem more masculine? What do you think?
I love your questions. I love that you did all of this homework. I love that you're asking things that nobody has ever asked me. I love it. Wow. I'm sure that we must have brought that up or said something about it, or I always would, maybe make a face. But you're right. That is so funny.
Gentlemen. All right. So you were about 45-ish and you're playing that role. Is that right? About 44, 45 probably when they were filming it?
Yes, because I had my son, I think at 40 maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so your son was he was only like 3 or 4 when you were doing it. Was he around the set when they were filming this movie, or where was he?
I did bring him. I brought him when he was when he could. I brought him to the set a couple of times, and what he remembers is that Mike Myers was chasing him.
Getting my Billy. No, what look were you rocking when you weren't on set at that time? Like obviously now you have just a simple, very pretty hair look. And were you rocking the short hair look, or what was your obviously the look?
Well, my hair was always a little shorter, and I had blonde hair. So yeah, I looked completely different, and the hair people, she kept wanting to, because every time I worked, they dyed it. Didn't dye it, but they put a rinse on it to be darker. Right. And she said, oh my God, you should really go red. You should go red. Oh, you look so good. And I was like, oh my God, I've been blonde forever. I don't know. The last movie, she was, telling me, come on, just do it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to, throw caution to the wind and do it. And I can always go back and have it, and then I sort of have been a lot of different carnations of red, and I loved it. So it was kind of a big risk that I took, but it worked.
How long did it take to film the first movie?
They're pretty fast. I want to say maybe 6 weeks or 2 months.
Okay. Did you have to get in and out of, like you go there in the morning, they put you in costume, and then you leave at night to take it off, or was it you would just kind of throw on the stuff? Or how long did it take you to get for your character in that movie? You get dressed up in the makeup for each day.
Oh, it wasn't terribly long. You had Mike who had to go through some of those prosthetics and stuff, but mine, I didn't have all of that. Now I did The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And that with the nose, that was 3 hours.
Oh, geez. Is that every day they had to do that?
We had to when we worked.
Oh, yeah. When you obviously when you worked, because you have to sit around in costume. Now, when they were obviously Mike played many different roles in each of the movies. Now, did they film scenes out of sequence? Just okay, we got Mike as Dr. Evil for 4 days, and we're just gonna do all the Dr. Evil scenes, and then we got him as Austin, or do they just do it? No,
they did it. Yeah, they did. We would do our stuff. I don't know how many things I'm wondering if we did do out of sync. Yeah, that's a really smart question. God, I don't even remember. I just remember, okay, well, the next day or 2 days, and we're going to go do the same scene, and now he's going to be this. So yeah, maybe we did. Boy, that was so long ago. Yeah.
That was crazy. Now, Tom Arnold had a little cameo in that movie. Did you get to meet Tom Arnold at all?
I don't think I was in it with him.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So I was going to ask you if you had any cool party stories, because I think Tom Arnold looks like a pretty party dude out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have no idea. No idea.
Now, how long did the Fembots scene take to film? And were you kind of like snickering that whole time? Was that kind of a silly scene?
Well, when I called them out and they had to
Yeah.
came in. Well, I mean, these women were awesome. They were wonderful and so lovely and sweet. And you know, and you do the scene several times, whether it be a lighting or a camera angle or, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it was really fun. And then, you know, and they just kind of stand around and you end up talking to them later. They're really lovely and sweet. And that was like, my God, that's like iconic. And one of them, I know I think she had not a podcast back then, but she had a lot of stuff going on. So she was sort of the more famous one.
Right.
And so, you know, she would do things, Comic-Cons or whatever. But yeah, they were just really, really sweet ladies who just got a great deal.
Okay, so they were actually real women and they're not robots. I was gonna see if you can make me some for the show and they can just walk around and not shoot people.
Yeah, you'll have to for that one.
I don't think the wife would like a bunch of blonde fembots walking around.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of that one.
Now, did you, Carrie? I watched this. I totally forgot that Carrie Fisher was even in Austin Powers. Did you get to meet her at all when she was on the set there? Or no? Did you ever get to meet her at all in real life, or in real life? Just did you ever get to meet her, shake hands or anything?
Gosh, I want to say maybe once,
Okay.
but you know, briefly, yeah. Because I think we did. Oh no, that was she did. It was another show, but I wasn't in that. Yeah, somehow it seems that we have met.
Okay. Now, when Dr. Evil was trying to press the Scott button when Austin and Vanessa were in the chambers, like towards the end of the first movie, and you did the little whip thing, whatever, Scott's hand, or Dr. Evil's hand, you give Scott a little wink. Is that kind of a nod to the next movie? Like, you know, this is what's going to happen?
No, because we never knew that you never knew there was going to be another movie, because the first one it wasn't a big success until it went to video.
Oh.
And then it gained this success. So we had no idea that there was going to be another one to it.
You know, that actually reminds me. It takes me back. The first DVD I remember buying on Amazon was actually Austin Powers. I think it was the second one, actually. Because I remember it was like $15, and back then Amazon was doing free shipping because they're trying to put everybody out of business. And who knows, it ended up actually working. But yeah, that was I still got that. That's so funny. I just now remember. That's so great. 20 DVDs. Who would have thought, man? DVDs 23 years ago, and now they're obsolete. I haven't watched a DVD in 6-7 years. It's all streamed now. And
Yeah, exactly. I remember there was, what was the other one that it was a disc?
Oh, the laser disc. It was like the size of a record.
Yeah.
That was like, man, maybe from the late 80s up until 95, 96-ish. And then I've only seen laser discs maybe twice. They're kind of like the 8-tracks of the 90s. They're just it's almost like an urban legend thing.
But it's so interesting to see what then was like, wow, you know, beta machine. I had a beta machine and all this stuff. And you thought, oh my God, this is the coming to the world. And how, like, you know, I mean, look at all this.
Well, it's so funny when you think about like if I want to do something like this back in, say, 85, you know, all the process to go through. I'd have to get a camera crew out. I'd have to, you know, call people, fax over offer sheets. Now I just email somebody, boom, we're on. It's so, the technology is amazing.
And even the phone, my God, you know, we're so, wherever we go, if we can't be alone, if you're in line, if you're waiting at a stoplight, if you're at the hospital, whatever it is, we are so addicted to having that phone. And it's not like, oh, I have to call my son. No, it's like, let's see what's going on Instagram. You know,
it could literally anything. I 100% agree, and I fully admit I'm the same way. I'm a complete phone addict. I mean, it's you know, I could, you know, wait till I get home, but you know, oh no, I got to see you on Facebook now. So I'm trying to not text and drive and look, and it's not even texting and drive. Facebook and, like you said, Instagram, and it's a bad habit. I know, but it's so hard.
We all are. It's really, yeah.
You feel like you want to be. Like you feel like you'll miss something. Oh, if I go to the store and, you know, 15 minutes and I'll miss something. And then it's like the one time you do put the phone down and you do miss something. So it's like, fuck, you know what?
It's never that bad. I mean, the thing is, we really are. We are constantly on alert. Oh my God, you know, and it's a shame because when you're working on set and they go, great, cut. All right, give us a minute. We're going to relight it. Everybody pulls out their phone and nobody talks. And it's like, oh, it just, I remember doing a show and there were two actors, on the side of me, and they, it's like, okay, cut. All right, give us a few minutes, and I was, oh, good. They'll talk to me. I'll get to know them, and it was just like the whole line here, the whole line there. I'm the only one without my phone.
I think it's a generation gap too. Like I think people, because I know obviously I'm addicted to the phone. I think people maybe 50 and under, I would say, people grew up with a phone. Maybe you came up with high school, and then we saw how technology advanced through AOL in the 90s, and then Napster. It's just such a part of your life. It's almost like we have a super hand, and you kind of need that,
Yeah.
And it's a balancing act because we do have to rid ourselves of some of the technology, but we said we have to allow it in our life somewhat. But I 100% agree though. We do need to evaluate, how we talk to people.
Well, think about it, Joe. People are walking across the street like this, and they're not paying attention. People walk towards me on the sidewalk, and I'm walking my dog, and they're not looking at me, and I'm not moving. I won't move. It's like, you fucking bump into me. Go for it. And and then they'll get there. Oh, sorry. And I'm like, come on.
So if you're watching this next Friday and you're on the road, pull over and watch it, or watch it when you get home. There's no need to watch it. It's not live tonight, so you can watch it later. This is a great guest. Don't worry. So how did you first hear? Now you said obviously the movie wrapped up. What did you? How soon after the first one wrapped up did you start getting inklings they're going to do a second one?
Well, let's see. I think we always ended up shooting like in October, something like that. So I think it was the summer, because I was in Hawaii with my family and I got the call. So, and I think it was that year, whatever year it was, that they ended up calling. Hey, how do you feel about? What are you doing next October? We're doing another film and a sequel, and they're not even a sequel, but yeah. It was just like, here I am in Hawaii going, yes, I'm available. Oh my God. That was like that next level to my career.
Okay. So this is the point where you're like, okay, Mindy Sterling's made it right here. They're calling me. They want me back for this role.
Yeah. And that's when, then people they watch you and now you're part of this team. You're part of this family. And the nice thing is, then the hard thing is people would call for me, but they want me to do the same character. And I'd go, I can't. I can't do her. I can't, or be Russian. Well, my Russian's going to sound very similar to my, German. So I had to, some stuff I had to say no to.
No, totally. So when we're going to get a little crazy with the questions, you're not really crazy, but this is the wording on this question is a little crazy. So bear with me. Now, going into the movie, did you know that they're going to make your character bisexual?
No.
You had no idea? Because they didn't. I noticed when I went back and watched both the movies sequentially. In the first movie, they didn't reference this at all once until like into the second movie. Then they brought out unibrow, and then you did your thing. So you had no clue they were going to do this. No,
well, not. When I saw the script, I did, but not the first one. Yeah, and that was a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Mary Jo. So that was kind of fun to have her be there. Yeah.
That was fun. She only had I didn't think she had a line. She just kind of looked up and smiled at you, and that was
with the unibrows, and yes, that is yes.
I wonder if unibrow ever met Anthony Davis from the Lakers. He's out in LA now. They should probably do a photo shoot.
No.
On costume, maybe they could do a cameo for somebody or something. Are you on Cameo? I forgot to ask you that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, nice. So check out Mindy on Cameo if you want a cameo.
Yes, please. Thank you.
She'll probably do a voice for you or something.
I will do anything you want other than, something naughty.
Right. No doubt. Well, speaking of getting naughty, let's get into the next scene. Now, after Dr. Evil took the mojo, now I got to ask you first before we get into this fucking hilarious scene. Now, are you as sick of the Marvin Gaye song, Let's Get It On, as I am? Because every single movie and every single time when somebody's kissing it, let's get it on. That song.
How can I be sick of it? That again that gave me great joy, and that scene with Mike that I had to, get on top of him and then fall down. I couldn't stop. He would giggle, I would giggle. It was hard, because he's so funny, and that's my goal. If I can make Mike Myers laugh in a scene, I've done my my
That's
business.
actually my next question there. What was it hard to not, how hard was it to just not laugh your ass off during the entire scene? I mean, how many, you probably had 15, 20 takes, I imagine. Were you just laughing the whole time? And did they just like cut laughing or what?
Yeah, but I think I would go out of frame. So we would giggle. But the one scene that we giggled at was the Hot Pockets. We're by the Hot Pockets, and I'm, I come in and I like, Dr. Evil, I'm late. And he's, oh, that's all right. No, I'm late. And I made him laugh. He laughed first. And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. So that was hard to do. It was like 1 a.m. and everybody's waiting for us to wrap this scene up. And I couldn't look at his face.
Because I noticed too that when right before you just bowed down to the covers, you were like, let's get it on. That was the only German I think you spoke during all the movies.
Oh, that's right, I did. I was given some German words I had to say. You're right.
That was literally the only. You're a German character with a German accent, but that was the only German I noticed that you spoke in the entire movie. That's hilarious, man.
Yes, you're right.
Now I got this is just an observation. The countdown scene with the rocket. And you start down at 30. It's so fucking funny. It's like 30, 29. It's like, let's just count from 5. Or when I say go,
I know, because think about it. He wants, usually it's like, you count down. It's like, and they're all ready. It's not like they're getting ready. So the funny thing is they're already sitting in there. And it's like, hey, why don't you just go from 5, 5, 4. And then it was like, boom. Yeah. That was really fun to do. I didn't have to yell the whole time, though it really didn't hurt me that much. But yeah, the director said, hey, don't worry about it. You don't have to yell the whole time. I don't want you to throw out your voice. And so it's like, okay.
Now, speaking on that, did you ever, throw your voice out when you're like, been getting the laser sequence? Did you ever just do that?
It really, I don't know. It's in a place, I guess, where it doesn't hurt me.
Do you ever get sick of people coming up to you and say quote movies from the lines, or you just kind of run with it and you have fun with it?
I won't. Sometimes I'll just. I mean, if I'm in a big place, and there's lots of people, I'm not gonna do that. That's what's great about Cameo, because you can tell me I'm a big fan, and then I will do what Frau does. You can give me a line, I can make it up. So that's been really fun to do, is to make people happy that way. But yeah.
Okay. Now, how was obviously Vern Troyer, rest in peace as well, but how was it unusual working with somebody that diminutive and small? I mean, he was very tiny.
He was very, very tiny, and the sweetest man and the hardest working guy. I mean, I never heard him complain. He was just lovely. He had, like an assistant and a helper. And it really is. It was such a shame, because I thought, wow, he found something that really gave him success, and that he was so loved, and Mike adored him. So I'm glad though he got that time to excel and do well and have, whatever Hollywood could give him, and that's what he wanted.
It couldn't have been easy for somebody like that. The role he was probably excited for, I bet, but I bet you the aftermath. I mean, because when you're that, I mean, you probably get typecast a little bit, but I can imagine like he was probably typecast. Everybody's like, do this, and do the finger thing and this and that. After a while, and people will do that to me, and I'm like, I don't do that. And and he's so well. You see him and you know exactly who he is. But he had a lot of difficulties. He was, being that small, and he had some medical conditions, and so it wasn't that easy for him. Okay. Now, going at the end, when you wrapped up finishing the second movie, did you already know the third movie was going to come out, or was that kind of a delayed wait there?
I don't know. I think it might not have been. Well, I don't know. I think it was another surprise too. We didn't know. It wasn't like they said. Maybe we asked, hey, do you think there'll be a third? But to this day, how many years, was the third one? People are going, so I hear there's another Austin Powers. I'm like, well, I don't. So they're doing it without me, or I think every year somebody brings it up.
Well, I mean, the story's kind of run its course. I mean, by the end of the third one, the the plot line was getting. I mean, the movie's a farce to begin with, but the
Well,
whole
they have to go a different direction. So it would either you have to. I think he would take Dr. Evil because I think he has more fun with that, and what possibilities, what could happen. If Frau and Dr. Evil were in these times, or you jump ahead because we went backwards. So maybe it's
go to the future or something. Okay, yeah. I bet you Mike Myers 100% doesn't do any of that. I bet you he's so sick of the Austin Powers stuff. He's like, I once read Eminem, like that first song he did, the I'm Slim Shady, the first one, he just gets nauseated when he hears that. I bet you deep down, like if you came up to Mike Myers and went, yeah, baby, he'd be like, run right to you.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, we get that, but you know what? If I can just look at that's why I like people asking different questions. It's but you have to remember that they don't know. So if somebody says to me, and I've heard it for like the 200,000th time, so what was Mike Myers like to work with? Well, they don't know what to say. They don't know. They want to. I mean, luckily I don't have to say anything bad.
Right. If you didn't get a fight with the guy, there's nothing bad. No bad. I saw him and he was good to me. That's pretty much it. And most of that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, when you after Austin Powers, you did iCarly. Now, was that your first role in any kids show, or what was your first kids movie after kids show?
Oh no, I did another show with a puppet, and I don't remember that, but it was Shia LaBeouf was in it, and I can't remember the name of it. And so iCarly, and guess what I played? A mean teacher. I do a lot of mean stuff. I was just a guest star. I was recurring. I wasn't even part of the cast, but certainly that between Austin Powers and iCarly, I get stopped a lot for those two.
Okay. I just talked to John Capellos a couple weeks ago. He was on the Breakfast Club, and he was telling me that working on the kids shows was more favorable and sweet because you got, you only work a couple hours, and the kids' labor laws, they can't work. Is that true? Like, you like working that?
Yes. So that, it's much more restricted. They can't work that long. But then you'll have to, watch what you say around there. And, you have to, it's really mind your P's and Q's. But it's definitely, you don't have long hours.
Now, I think it was kind of cool how iCarly was kind of like the first almost vlog, and it kind of started the whole, like people like me, doing the YouTube thing, and off from that, iCarly was kind of YouTube before YouTube was cool. Would you think that's?
Oh my God, it was huge. I mean, it was the whole thing about using the computer and having a talent show and using video. I mean, it blew up. I thought that was such a smart, as it was beginning, such a smart way to go with a show like that.
It was perfect. Now, did your iCarly role lead into the Ant Farm role? Well, shockingly, you played another school administrator that was mean.
Yes, I was, wasn't I? And again, I was not a regular, but it was just sort of different. I was, I think I was a little kookier. Okay. So where Miss Briggs and iCarly was just she didn't like the kids, and so but she didn't have she wasn't kind of fun. She was less fun. Ant Farm, I was a little fun with the kids and what I did. And, she was like, I was like an idiot.
Now, a role like that, did you have to audition for that? Or at that point, there's like, okay, Mindy, you get this role?
Well, I knew people that were putting it together. So I think I auditioned with high hopes. But, gosh, you're asking such great questions, and I have such a bad memory. So I'm not really sure. Now I want to find out.
Go back in your Facebook messages and check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, there's a show I've seen it a couple times, but I haven't really watched it too much. It says you were on the Goldbergs. Is that right?
Yes, I have. I recur on the Goldbergs. It was such a fun. I mean, it's about the 80s. It's just that was my era, and so much fun to work with these people. And Wendy McClendon-Covey, she also was from the Groundlings, and Stephanie Courtney, who is, do you know the progressive commercials?
Oh yeah.
That's Stephanie Courtney. So
okay.
she's on the Goldbergs, and she also was from the Groundlings. So
Okay.
there's a huge connection that way.
I
Yes.
think next to Regis Philbin, I think she's probably the most viewed person out there with how many ads Progressive Insurance runs on every platform everywhere. My gosh.
Yes.
My
and
gosh.
the nicest person ever.
Oh yeah, and Progressive's based right here on the east side. I actually applied for them when I was coming out of Kent. I think I applied for them. They just were like, "Whatever, man, we're not going to hire you."
Oh, all right. Well, that's kind of weird. Okay.
That's just a sidebar in my career. My career has gotten better since then. I do other things.
Good.
When I was first coming out of Kent State, Progressive wasn't too kind to me, but that's okay. I wouldn't have hired me either, no. But is it still fun doing the sitcoms? Do you prefer that? And that show was set in the 80s. Is like the traditional sitcom like that and the Seinfeld, Friends, is that kind of dead now, or do you think they can make it come back?
Right now, because if it's tape, they'll have an audience, but they can't have an audience yet. So the Goldbergs isn't. They never had an audience, so they did it without that, and very fast pace. Definitely still sitcom-y stuff.
Sorry about that.
Get that water, or whatever you're drinking.
I'm out of the water, so that's what screwed me up. Now, what do you think about the nonstop, in my opinion, reality TV trend? Like back in the 90s, you would get, the fall lineups would come out, you get sitcom, and they'd have a couple cop dramas, and that was it. Now, it's just reality show. Does that diminish the craft at all? I mean, how does that, as an actress who's, put in many hours over the years and had some great roles, how does that make you feel?
Well, I think in the beginning we definitely the actors were hurting because that was a big thing. It started and then it just boomed, and the only reality stuff that I like is stuff that you have to have a craft. You have to make something. It's like a talent show, or you're vying for to win, not like the Bachelor or all the women from. I really can't stand that. I really don't have. To me, it's all produced. It's all like, why are we watching other people make fools of themselves, or just leaving it open for, follow me around, watch how I deal with my kids. Who cares? But enough people that are just, they love it, and I'm not one of them.
I'm the same way. That there's a show I always write again when I talk to anybody, that 90 Day Fiance and stuff. No, dude, it's such trite crap. We're just watching it because you like seeing people yell. If you want to see people yell, go down to Walmart and throw something to somebody. They'll start yelling all the time. You get all the drama you want. Keep it off my television.
It's a car wreck. But if you don't think that the producers are not going, okay, so here, go for it. You can say whatever, we'll bleep you, but they're giving them permission, because that's what's for some people that either have no life or wish they had that kind of life. They love it. It's a train wreck, and it's sad that I think it's calmed down a bit. But like I said, I like the programs that have when people have talent.
Oh yeah, I love cook-off shows and stuff like that. I feel it. Like a lot of the, I don't know, man. It's so hard to watch some of it. It's the fake drama. I just can't do fake drama. Like if it was real drama, okay, I could get it. But when somebody tells me, hey, act up and make this chick, mad at you, anybody could do that. It's the bar every Saturday night. Come on, man.
Well, then you have all these housewives who are dressed, and it's like, and then we watch them be mean and nasty to each other. Why?
Right. Why do you want that life? I'd rather be poor.
And producers are going, we need you to be nasty. I'm like, no, I don't. That's what they're there for.
Now, how do you like doing voiceover work? Do you like that better than regular acting?
I love it. You don't have to memorize anything. You are reading something. You get to still act. You get to be a character. I get great joy in doing it.
Now, I just read that you were just on Family Guy. Is that right? Was this a recent episode? I don't
know. I know I've done a couple of them. So I do like, little characters here, little characters there. So I don't know who said I was on recently.
I said March 31st, 2021. You're on. Yes, I haven't watched Family. I haven't watched the new. It's weird because like I still obviously watch it, but like the sequences of Family Guy, like I couldn't tell you past 2015 or so, like what show was what year. So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, same either because I don't watch my stuff, so I never know when it's gonna come out.
Was that because do you still talk with Seth Green? Was you get a lot of Family Guy stuff because of Seth Green, or is it?
No, I did. I didn't do. Yes, it wasn't from Seth. Seth and I though keep in touch. Okay. Seth is so fabulous. He helps me with charity things. Okay. He'll be a part of something and help me, get some money. And he still is one of the loveliest people in the business.
Okay, he seems like a nice guy. A lot of Seths on the family. Maybe it's everybody who's named Seth is just a nice guy, but Seth Rogen, Seth Green, Seth MacFarlane, they all seem like nice guys. I never met the people, but they all seem like gentle.
Seth Green is definitely a sweetheart.
All right, what was the craziest role that someone offered you that you turned down?
Oh wow, the craziest. I don't think that. I don't think it's they're crazy. It just may not be interesting.
On that same vein, was there a role that was just completely lame? Like you're like, I'm not going to do this, and you turned it down. Like,
no, I think if anything, it's independent. Some small little budget thing that came my way, and I didn't care for it. Didn't look interesting. So that kind of stuff that you may say no to, but yeah.
Okay. Now, was there any role you auditioned for that you really thought you were a perfect part for and you really wanted that you just didn't get or close to it?
Everything, Joe, everything. It's hard. It's hard. You go in and you try not to think about the end result, and you try not to think about, oh my God, this would be so much fun if I got this. Oh my God. And it's so disappointing. And that's all you can do because there's a lot of really talented people out here that are just up against you. And it's, I'm not going to say that everything that I auditioned for, I was terribly disappointed, but there's stuff that just comes in that you're like, oh God, this is so me, or, whatever. And yeah.
Now on that same ilk, now this just randomly occurred to me. What would you say, this is a hard question, I realize it, with the percent, like say all the roles you auditioned for, you can use any time frame you want, what percentage would you say you got? So say you applied for 20 jobs, how many are you getting?
5.
5. Okay, so you get about a quarter. Okay, so that's not a bad rate.
And maybe not even that much. It just, again, it just sort of depends. But you can go months without, getting something that is substantial or something that you really wanted. It's just, it's and right now things are getting back to the business, so hopefully it'll start to pick up. But you just never know. The last thing that I did was I worked with it was a show. It's going to be on Apple TV. I worked with Will Ferrell.
Oh, okay.
And the nicest man ever, and he was a groundling.
Oh, nice! I love Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell in Old School is probably my favorite movie of all time. It says a lot because I like war movies and Full Metal Jacket and stuff like that. But man, Old School was just so freaking funny, man. Oh my God.
No, he is just a dream. He's a dream. And so, so I had a little part in this show that they're making, and and that was just, it was lovely. It was lovely to spend the day with Will and talk about family and career, and and so those kind of things, when you get to hang out with someone that is really a lovely person, that made everything that I did more special.
That's awesome. Now, what are your non-acting related hobbies?
Oh God, Joe, I wish I had some. I really do. I have a dog. I have a son. I like to clean. I walk. I do Pilates. But I'm not like, it's not like I paint or I make jewelry or I buy cars. I really don't. I do like watching TV, so I'm definitely a TV person.
Do you follow any sports teams at all?
No.
No, not at all. Huh?
Not a sports girl at all. That's what was so funny about this, was like, I know nothing.
Now, do actresses and actors ever really stop acting? Like, there's roles for people like going up to your 90s. Like, do you ever have any intention of just retiring, or is it just, at this point, it's just in your blood and you're just going to keep going until you stop?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I think people get ill. People just, they retire. They may do one thing that if they're offered it. I think that it just depends. Some people just, they get, I've done it, and now I want to move to blah, 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 Brazil and live the life, whatever. So, and then I know some that, maybe came out of retirement because someone offered them something, that kind of thing. But there are, older people that are really smart and really have it together and can keep going.
So do you, how long do you think you'll keep going? You just gonna keep doing this until whenever, or just whenever you don't feel like it's fun anymore, or?
Well, yeah, or just, I feel like, I don't know, that's a hard thing, because I don't want to say, oh, well, I know exactly when I'm going to stop, when my brain stops. But I like doing lots of little different things. I'd still love to be in a series. I'm still hoping that I'm not going to get too old and too out of it to not be a part of a family and be a part of a show that, has a regular fixture on TV or something. Yeah.
Okay, so you want your ultimate pinnacle. That's going to be one of my last questions, leading into my last question. But like your ultimate pinnacle at this point, kind of just like the Mindy Sterling show, theoretically. Like
no, I do not want to be the star.
Okay, so you just want to be like if we're saying, I don't know, like in Martin, you'd like want to be the, if we're putting a Martin show out, you'd be like one of the side characters in Martin. You don't want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, yes, somebody's mother, somebody's grandmother, the neighbor. I mean, things like that. I would, that would be fun, because then it's my, coming to my age.
I gotcha. Now, how are you dealing with masking and COVID and all this stuff?
Well, I am vaccinated.
Okay, I am too. Good.
So I feel better. I feel, there's a sense of, okay, we're moving forward. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I'm still very, very, I wear the mask when I go out. I'm very respectful. And a lot of in my pod, they've all gotten the vaccine. So the best thing right now is just hugging them.
Oh yeah, human contact for me. It's seeing smiling faces. I love smiling faces. I always smile at people.
Me too.
And embracing people, hugging people, human warmth. That's the thing I want to get most back to. I mean, sure, packed movies, rock concerts, stadiums and stuff. That's what I really want deep down. But I could deal with it. It's whatever. But yeah, just
human contact. We have not had that. Think about that unless you're living with somebody. But it has been really, really hard, mentally, emotionally, physically. And if we just hang in there long enough and still, follow the rules and the safety, it's going to be okay. It's going to be different. It's not going to all of a sudden. But we've got to tackle what's happening to us, because I don't want to make someone sick, and I don't want to be sick.
Yeah, I just want to. I mean, at this point, hopefully the vaccinations will take us through, and we can get there. It's kind of, a lot of people are kind of just at a loss, because we all got COVID fatigue at this point. And it's like, do we really don't want to close down businesses again and not give money and stuff like that? So who knows? And
are things opening where you are?
Yeah, in Ohio we have everything's open in terms of you can go to the restaurants, but you still have to mask when you walk in, and they segregate people. But sit down restaurants and all that are open. And like the stadium for the Browns games you went to the Browns games and stuff, and you still segregated and whatnot. But they're slowly starting to open. It's nothing like California from what I've read.
Okay.
Yeah, because you guys are like,
movie theaters are opening.
What's that?
Movie theaters.
They did have my buddy Carmen just premiered a movie out on the east side of Cleveland, and he was they did have it. It's still socially segregated, so it's like 30% capacity, something like that going on. But yeah, it's eventually Ohio's kind of like right on the curve. We're not too progressive. It's not like Texas where they're just throwing everything in the wind, and Florida and all that. But it's not like we're totally stay closed and all that. It's kind of realistic. The governor, I mean, it's not a popular job. I don't particularly like the governor because of his stance on marijuana, but I mean that's a whole different argument.
Right. Sure, of course. Yeah.
Before we get out of here, you got anything to promote? How can people get hold of you?
Well, I'm involved in this little, it's tonight, I think at like 7:45 or 7 o'clock. And it's a kitty bungalow. And what it is, it's, I don't know how to send you that information, but, it's trying to raise money for this amazing organization that helps, feral cats to bring them in and to socialize them and then get them adopted so that they don't get, killed and all that kind of stuff. And so they rehabilitate them and stuff. And it's really wonderful. So I'm going to do an improv set with a different group of people, not with the Groundlings. And you can go on my Instagram. I'm Mindy, Mindy Ster, Ster. And I'll put it up on my story.
Okay, well, cool, definitely.
And, but other than that, what else am I doing? I just, watch the Goldbergs. So I'll pop in every now and then, and hopefully things will start to move up again.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for joining us today, Ms. Sterling. It was nice talking with you. And join us next week when we'll have, I can't remember who I'm having next week, but we'll be on next. I'm going to air this. I'm going to air this on the 16th, and then the 23rd. I think I got this guy who throws cards, Rick Smith Jr. is coming on, and after that, I got to figure out the schedule going forth. But thanks you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking with you, Mindy.
And same to you. Thank you for your wonderful questions.
I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.